And welcome back to another episode of Over the Glass. I am your host, Jay.
I'm other hostess.
And the NHL is still going. I don't know how many of these games you've been watching, but I've been kind of tapped out. I was watching some of the men's worlds a couple weeks ago or a week ago. I haven't been able to catch any of them this week. I've been kind of like tapped out, but I'm sure in the coming week they're getting closer to the semifinals and the finals. And then if I can finally watch a US or Canada game, that would be extra awesome. Actually, wait, I take that back. I did get to watch some of Canada versus, sorry, I forgot the country they were going against. So sad. I'm so sad for that country because they were really like not in the game. But it was really cool to see Crosby with Macklin Celebrini on the same line doing great things. But other than that, we're still going to go through the NHL playoffs and talk a little bit about that. And are you entirely surprised that the Dallas Stars have advanced to the conference finals over the Jets?
No, I think we called this actually.
I think so.
I think we called the whole Western Conference final. What I think I'm a little bit more not surprised, but it'd be interesting to see who wins today's game between Toronto and Florida. I'm kind of hoping for Toronto because I don't need Florida to be out there no more. But I know how annoying Toronto fans can be. But I don't know, dude. Like, I think they deserve a little bit of success getting to the Eastern Conference final. Doesn't mean that they're gonna make it all the way to the Stanley Cup final, but I think for me, my opinion, my guess is that Carolina's gonna make it to the finals. Doesn't matter who's gonna make it through tonight. I think Carolina's gonna take that series and go up against Dallas. That's my guess.
Leafs are entering uncharted territory right now. I was thinking that they would get past like the one win against the Panthers and then lose the next couple of ones, get knocked out, but they've been hanging in there. And I mean, like I said, I haven't been watching any of these games, but given the Leafs track record, given how passionate their fan base is, like, I don't necessarily know if I want to be a Leafs fan right now because you're just like, I don't know what to do with myself. It makes me think back to when the Sharks, went all the way to the Cup in 2016, and every game I think after the semifinals, I was just like, what is this life I'm living right now? Like, we've never been here. And then every game that we got to win and then got to the Stanley Cup, I mean, yeah, it was devastating when we pretty much were so close and just couldn't keep going. But I just think about how maybe that's kind of how like Leafs fans feel at this moment. Like, they've never gotten really past the first round. And the last time they did, they got the one win and then they just got slapped around for the next three. But this is definitely a game I think I'm going to be tuning into just because Toronto is it's going to be crazy. I have a cousin out there. Maybe I should reach out to her. She's from New York, so she's not native Canadian. Her husband is a native Canadian, but he's a basketball fan. So when I first met him, I thought, oh man, we're going to be like super close friends. But he's like, oh, I'm a basketball fan. Like, oh. Anyway, so I don't know, but I think by like osmosis, they'll be like in that moment because I'm sure Toronto is going to be off the hook if they manage to close this out and advance to the conference finals. But I do agree with you. I feel like even though I felt this past regular season that Carolina didn't look as good as they have in the past, like especially with their goaltender situation right now. Like Frederik Andersen cannot stay healthy, but in the past, I think they haven't had um like more of a safety net in goal. That's why they continue to have Frederik Andersen. But even though Kochetkov to me didn't really seem as consistent this regular season, from what I saw when Frederik Andersen went down, like Kochetkov rose to the occasion. So I think the rest of their players have been kind of starting to get into the groove. And I mean, Washington, I think that's just been more of a surprise story all regular season. Granted, we don't follow any of these teams terribly closely, but like Washington got into the playoffs last season and it was just like, yeah, that I had zero faith that they were gonna like do much else with that, right? Like I feel like the previous season, the teams trying to make it into that last wild card slot were just like, who's gonna lose the least amount of games? Like who's and while it didn't seem that way this season with the Washington Capitals, I still feel like perhaps they haven't really done enough to be sustainable. And I feel like they're if anything, they're trying to keep it together for these last couple of seasons that Ovechkin was going to be with the team, much like the story going on with Pittsburgh, how they will not do a rebuild because like Crosby wants to stay. And if Crosby wants to stay, you guy's not going to settle for, like, let's just help the kids, start the new era. Like dude wants to win. So, but anyways, so I guess we'll see what happens as we record on Sunday. And the Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Panthers later this afternoon. In other news, the last matchups that were had in the Western Conference was against the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. And my only recollection from this series is seeing that one clip where Tomas Hertl was so upset getting back on the bench he accidentally hit one of the staff members with his stick.
Terrible. I never saw him pulling any shenanigans like that as a Shark. I'm just saying, there's something in the water in Vegas. Dude, the players made a whole joke about it. Did you see the day after that they put like tape on the glass where where the trainer was standing? Like, you know how they and then later somebody came by and put Hurdle's stick on it too. It's like the cause of death. It's so silly.
That trainer's
really
like,
watch that series.
I don't get paid enough to deal with this walking off.
Absolutely
He's just
not,
like,
dude.
Nope.
Poor guy probably has like a freaking red mark on his head.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's no surprise that we're kind of like zero sympathy.
How happy were you to see Vegas lose in 5?
I mean, we're not exactly happy that the Oilers advance. I think the less of two evils, I'm going to be for the time being, a Stars fan, as much as that hurts me to say that. Do you see the pain? Pain.
No.
But the lesser of two evils, pain.
Yeah. I think Edmonton versus Dallas is interesting as a Sharks fan just because Wallman is on Edmonton and then we got Granlund and CC on Dallas. So that's the only reason I'd be watching, I suppose. Although Rantanen on Dallas has been pretty sick. He's been going off. I think I am.
He's found his stride.
There just for... No, for real. And then, like, I really don't care for Carolina or Florida or Toronto, so... But dude, if Toronto makes it through just to the Eastern Conference final, man, that will, like, history books. When was the last time?
Yeah, that should be interesting one later today. But okay, so we're pulling for the Stars to enter the finals, and then
Pretty much
like
assuming Carolina's.
okay, so we'll assume that Carolina's going to advance, but it'll be a crazy story if the Leafs can go all the way. Well, go all the way as in the finals. I don't know if they're going to take it all. That'll be nuts, though. That'll like imagine if the Leafs get all the way to the finals, but then they don't win it. Like the bar is so high after that, right? Like
as a fan, I don't know. I might combust.
Like we might need to bring in a Leafs fan and just be like, "How are you feeling after all that?"
know,
like
right?
because I mean, they've been trying to get. Well, I don't know the bigger part of it. Like, is it satisfactory if they at least get out of the second round? Like, I mean, of course, this is like the first season under their new head coach, and like I have to wonder if they make it all the way to the finals. Like, does Marner get to sign for his next contract there, or what? I just have a lot of questions. I'm very intrigued by the possibilities of this particular storyline. Everyone else, everyone's been in the mix for a while. I don't care about that. But the Leafs, for sure, it'll be interesting to see. Like, but
we'll have to wait and see what happens tonight.
All right. Yeah, that should be interesting. In other NHL news, the draft lottery happened a week ago, and the Sharks got the second overall pick. How are you feeling about that?
I kind of knew it. I know you were excited and you were manifesting the first overall. But I had said, I'm not feeling it. I don't think we're going to get first overall. I kind of felt like we were going to get second or third, but like second mostly. So I wasn't surprised when I saw the results come in. What I am surprised about is how the Islanders got up there.
Mm-hmm.
They like jumped over so many people. So the Islanders getting first overall, we're second, and who's getting third?
The Blackhawks.
The order.
Pretty sure it was the Blackhawks.
No way. I think the Blackhawks are down to like the fifth. Really?
What the final was? The final layout of the lottery? Is that what you're asking?
I don't have it pulled up right now.
Is that what you're asking though?
Who has like
who got third?
Who has the first 5 picks? Yes, who got third?
Yeah, it's Chicago. Pretty sure.
Really? Oh, that's lame. Gonna look this up real quick. Draft.
Yeah, the first round was Islanders, Sharks, Blackhawks, Utah, Predators, Flyers, Bruins, Kraken, Sabres, Anaheim Ducks, Penguins, yada yada yada. Yeah. So,
okay.
How did you feel about them doing the balls live? Given all of like the controversy.
I didn't get to watch it because I was working, so I didn't even.
But I mean, how do you feel about them doing that versus in the past they've like done it off camera and then they've shown it, and then people in the last couple of seasons or even before that, especially not 100. I'm not saying officially we were conspiracy theorists on this podcast, but we definitely like didn't say no to the possibility that there was something going on, especially during the year of Bedard. But the fact that they actually showed the balls being, moved around, and then they did the live pulling of the balls versus it being like behind the scenes and then they announce it afterwards. How do you feel about them doing that?
I think it's kind of funny because it's kind of like a let us show you that it's not rigged. We're gonna
Exhibit
put it live
A.
for you.
It's like a magic trick. There are no strings.
It's funny. I mean, but like it is what it is. I don't think I've heard any fan complaining about it being rigged this year. And it's I think more so people are surprised again, like the Islanders jumped so many spots.
Yeah. I think if anything that's probably more of the storyline than any sort of manipulation like we've had in the past. My so I got to watch it live, and thankfully no one at work bothered me during like those 10 minutes. And if I could have recorded myself, my face just dropped and I was like, really? when the Islanders got the first overall, like if anything, I was thinking, within the first the people who were in the top 5 or whatever of like the highest odds, like I was thinking if we didn't get the first overall, it was going to be one of those. And I was like anticipating Chicago getting it and how I would feel about that. I didn't have really any strong feelings towards the other ones, like especially like Nashville. Nashville is particularly terrible this season. Yeah, like none of the ones down here with the bottom feeders, whatever. I was feeling particularly like upset if they were to have gotten it, but the Islanders, yeah, that was my reaction. I was just like, what? Whatever, fine. You don't really deserve it.
What did they do to deserve that? It's old news now.
But yeah, so we have the second overall pick, and I did see Greer fielding some questions from the media in regards to how he feels about that. He's been very open about he's open to trades, hearing people's trades, whether or not obviously last season he was, of course, he'll always probably say that because why would you shut the door? Doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna take up any of these offers, but like, sure, yeah, you could tell me all the possibilities of what you'd give me for this, but that won't necessarily mean anything in the moment. But given last season when we got the first overall, like you'd have to basically sell him a winning team on a silver platter for him to give you that first overall pick, right? This time around, especially with people who get paid to do this stuff have been talking about this upcoming draft not being as robust in skill set as the previous two. I feel like when he talks about being open to the possibility of trading it, I feel like that's more potential, but I still don't know if I can see that happening. And then with everyone talking about how we need more on the back end help, he did say that he doesn't feel that we're in a position to be drafting by position, which was interesting. It kind of shifts my focus from all of these like prospect analysts and whatever talking about who's going to be like the best option for the Sharks and blah blah blah, and with Schaefer being the top defensive prospect and it looking like we're probably not going to have the chance to grab him. So the next couple of ones will be forwards, and then people talking about, oh, which position would be best for the Sharks to take, given that Greer is kind of mentioned to the media that he's not really focused on particular positions, given how he feels about I guess, the team situation right now, which I think makes sense that you need to, so I guess what he's sort of saying is like he's kind of keeping his options like broader in bringing in, looking more towards who's the best option to bring into the team and not necessarily position wise, because we're not like right there at the door ready to like, ready to get back into the playoffs necessarily. So I guess what are your thoughts in terms of like that sort of reaction from him after the lottery draft?
Not surprised. I guess it makes sense that he said that he is looking to draft the best player that's available as opposed to position or whatever it is that they need. It doesn't seem like there are a lot of top defensemen available outside of Schaefer. And obviously that is what the Sharks need, is some defensemen. However, maybe he feels good about where we are with the prospects coming up, because we have Mukhamadulin's developing pretty well, and we've all seen how Dickinson has been doing in the OHL and how dominant he was during the playoffs, which I guess, I don't know, bring that up now, but like the London Knights did end up winning the cup. What is it called?
The OHL playoffs?
Yeah, I don't know what cup they play for.
I have no idea.
But yeah, Dickinson was a beast. Apparently he set a new record for highest points for a defenseman in London Knights history, blah blah blah. So imagine a Halttunen who is a pretty offensive defenseman with Mukhamadullin, and then we have Cagnoni as well, who is looking great on the Barracuda. Got to see him play live finally when we went to the game a couple weekends ago before the Cuda got eliminated. Like, I don't feel super what's the word, like, I'm not super worried about where we're at. I think it would be nice to have a defensive defenseman, like a top defenseman at some point, because these kids that I'm mentioning are more offensive minded. But it's not like where we were at a few seasons ago, where we had Eric Carlson doing all the work and then everyone else is just like they looked like chickens with their heads cut off and didn't know what they were doing back there. So I think we're okay. I think Greer knows exactly what he's doing and is chill. He's chilling.
Yeah, and I think also, given that unlike teams like the team formerly known as the Arizona Coyotes, like they just seemed like they were in rebuild forever. Like they were just always like, anytime you felt like, oh, they're going to take the next step, then they just like dish away all their veterans, and then it just ends up being the young core again, the young guys in the prospect pool. And it's like, when is this team ever going to feel ready to take the next step? And then granted, now that they are moved over to Utah has an obligation to bring a winning culture to their area. They don't have like the diehard connection with all the the Arizona fans. So now they had to take this leap, and they were pretty competitive for a good chunk of their inaugural season. I did watch a couple of their games, and it was just like pretty exciting to see this quote unquote new team, and then this different vibe that now they're trying to like be a competitive team. But we've already kind of gotten this feeling that we're not going to be in that same situation where you're just going to continue to dish away your veterans and anybody who's like over the age of like 25. Like, we just really don't have, I don't know if you could say luxury, because it's like, I mean, I've been able to shift my focus to being excited about the up and coming and less about the wins. But the general public, I think the average hockey fan is not going to be particularly like excited to go in and like see a losing team. So I kind of feel like also the way that Greer's talked about how he's going to go into the draft, in particular with the second overall pick, that we're not relying so much on, of course, you know, like unlike a Macklin Celebrini who was able to start and complete this whole first year in the NHL, that doesn't really seem like it's going to be the vibe for this upcoming draft class. And typically with those types of players, like you're going to need to put them in like the slow cooker for a couple of seasons. And I can kind of see from him being like not really focused on a particular position, because he is also in a situation where you do kind of need to put a team together now and be competitive now than waiting on how this second overall pick is going to grow and blossom and how he's going to fit into the lineup, you know, 2-3 seasons from now. Like whoever you end up choosing is going to be the best player that you can get given who's left on the board. Granted, we are going to get the second pick, so we'll have, you know, all the picks are going to be out there for us minus the one that the Islanders take. But yeah, I'm with you as well. I'm like not terribly worried. I'm actually incredibly excited to see like who are we going to add to the veteran presence, who is going to be able to come up through the success that they've had in their respective seasons, who is going to be able to make it out of training camp from the Barracuda squad into our, you know, to the big club and whatever. So there's a lot of great things to look forward to outside of who the second overall pick is going to be.
Yeah. We're making moves, man. We're going to start seeing the actual progress.
Mm-hmm. A lot of great things to look forward to with this squad. Okay, so we're going to take a moment and we're going to talk about our sponsor. You should know already, it is DraftKings. The NBA 82 game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for all the high stake drama, clutch moments, and jaw dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points, 40, or more? It's your call. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus, agent eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. So, you know, we're not terribly big NBA fans up in here, but I do have a coworker who is a big Warriors fan, and sucks to see that they got knocked out. I mean, it didn't really look like they were having much of a chance. I saw that they only got the one game against the Mavericks. But I was talking to that friend on Friday. I was trying to boost about, hey, the Golden State Valkyries have their home opener night. You're going to watch? And then he's like, yeah, you're going to look into it. And he has kids, and he's like, hopefully my kids won't let me watch the game. But then he also said, oh, and I guess the finals. He said it was like the Celtics against, I don't know, what other NBA team, and where he's like, oh, what's that?
The New York Knicks.
Okay, there you go. And he was telling me about that, and he's like, oh, that's also on, and I'm like, that's not Bay Area though. Like, who cares about that? But hey, if you're someone who cares about that, there's a game coming up on Wednesday, the 21st. It's going to be against the Pacers, against the Knicks. Well, I guess that answers my question. Who won that? The money line for the Pacers is a plus 150, and then it's a negative 180 for the Knicks. So if that's something you care about, use our code THPN with the DraftKings Sportsbook app and place your bet. But if you don't really care about that, well, the Oilers go against the Stars on Wednesday. Same day, the Oilers are plus 105 to the negative 125 Stars. So the Oilers are a favor in that. I mean, we have our own thoughts, but, you know, we don't get paid to do this stuff to analyze, so don't take our word for it. Make your own decision.
You can also bet on WNBA games, which is
cool.
Oh, so
hey now.
The Seattle Storm are going up against the Dallas Wings. Money line is a negative 148 for the Storm and a plus 124 for the Wings. Now, I have been keeping up with WNBA a little bit more. The Dallas Wings are the ones who just drafted first overall the past draft. So they have, I forget what her first name is, but last name Beckers. So she's a prospect to look out for. She was the first overall draft pick and plays for the Dallas Wings. So I don't know. It doesn't look like they have if it's plus, it means that they suck, right? Like they're just not the favorite to win the game or whatever.
Okay, then maybe I have it backwards of what I was saying about the Oilers then.
Yeah, usually the ones with the negative.
Okay.
The outcome is that they're gonna.
Okay, then the Stars are the favorite. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Anyways, go place your bets, guys.
Hey, DraftKings, you should get us to read some sponsoring for the WNBA. Hit, nudge, nudge. All right. So, in other news, let me get back to where is my screen at? Okay. So in other news, you had just already mentioned it a bit ago about the OHL playoffs, and Kasper Halttunen was named the OHL playoffs MVP. Haven't been keeping terribly close attention to this particular playoffs, but I did see there were a lot of good things happening, in particular to Halttunen and Dickinson. And so this is really great for us to see one of our up-and-coming prospects named as the OHL playoffs MVP. So just another thing to look forward to.
Just check off the list. Sharks doing great.
Good job, Kasper. Okay, I'm going to pause for just a second. I need to get my charger. Okay. And then in other news, is this happening right now? Sharkie Mascot Hall of Fame vote?
Yes. I just voted this morning.
When does it end?
I don't know. I didn't see a date on it. Did you get a thing in the mail?
I didn't get a thingy in the mail.
I got a thing in the mail. Maybe.
What?
That's interesting. Sorry. So I got a package in the mail. I was very surprised by, because
you know what? You know what? I got a notice in my mailbox about a missed delivery. So that maybe that's what it is. Because I was like, because I was reading and I was like, what the hell? Like, why do you I wasn't expecting anything that needed like authorization, and because I'm thinking like, why don't you just leave it, like, because it was like there were two parts checked off that it was too big to put in my mailbox, and then 3 that it needed like authorization or some kind of like security like measure to hand it to me. And I was like trying to think of what did I order, because all I'm expecting is like my headphones. I ordered like some like soda drinks, and I'm like, no, I don't need to sign for any of those. Man, now I'm extra curious. I have to wait till like probably Monday, and they're no wait, because
Well,
they
I can
need
show
me
you right
here.
now.
Dang it!
Do you want to be surprised, or you want me to show you?
You might as well, because I'm probably
Okay.
not going to see it till like Tuesday.
All right. So for those of you that don't know or aren't on social media as often, Sharkie is up as a Mascot Hall of Fame nominee, and so nice little care package, little fan package. So here, wait, hold that QR code up for you guys. So if you want to scan it and vote for him, a little head in the middle, so cute. Oh my god, I can't point right there. Anyways, so I got this cute little coaster with his face on
Cute.
it. I can't see because there's a glare, but it
Had
says,
Sharkie's face on it.
yeah, in SJ Sharkie we trust. Established 1992. Keep for good luck, pass on for better luck. So I don't know. Do a giveaway or do I want to keep it? I don't know. I kind of want to keep it. It comes with a little gibbet for your Crocs. For those of you that like wear Crocs, you can stick that onto the shoe, whatever.
Sharkie trying to bribe us for his vote.
Absolutely, and it's working because it worked. I did it. Comes with a token with his face on it on the back as well. It says, "The I hope this token brings you good luck. Pass it on for better luck." Got a sticker, Sharkie sticker. Maybe I'll stick that on my water bottle. Look at this. I have space. Does it go? Does it go? Maybe. We'll see. And last but not least, I got a nice, cute little signed. I don't know what to call this. It's not really a poster, but a little poster. Sharkie playing. God, my freaking light is in the way. It's hockey, and then it says, if you can't read it because the lighting sucks, it says, "You're Jossum, now vote for me," and then he signed it. So yeah, again, there's like some facts about him on here. Height, tall, weight, heavy, shoots right, position, center of attention, birth date January 28th, and some fun facts about him. Fun facts: he's escorted a student to their high school prom. Has acted as the ring bearer at a wedding ceremony. He's assisted in dropping the ceremonial first puck at the 97 NHL All-Star Game. Named Most Awesome Mascot in Sports at the 2012 Cartoon Network Hall of Fame Awards show. Has been featured in numerous movies and TV shows. And had the first ever website devoted solely to a sports mascot. So that's our Sharkie. Go vote for him. I think he deserves a little bit of Hall of Fame attention. He's been around for a minute. Okay.
Well, I guess we'll see if that is the mail that was unable to be delivered to me.
Mystery solved.
All right. In other news, non-NHL news, the PWHL is having their finals. It is Minnesota once again in the finals against the Ottawa Charge. So that starts in a couple of days on Tuesday.
The 20th. Yeah. So okay. So I haven't been keeping up with the PWHL as much as I would like. But this past week, I was able to catch a game, and it was the Charge against Montreal. And so I didn't realize how much drama it was during the playoffs for this what you call it, league, because apparently what happens is whoever finishes top of the league gets to choose who they play during the playoffs. And so Montreal chose to play Ottawa. Ottawa, I think, barely snuck into the playoffs or whatever, but I think they also chose them because of the distance, so they wouldn't have to travel as much. Either way, Montreal chose to play Ottawa in the playoffs. Ottawa took the series and kicked Montreal out. Montreal was only able to get one win. And I believe it's a best of 5 series or best of 3. I can't remember. It's not as much as
best of 3. Best of 5. Yeah, best of 5 because they played 5 games.
Okay. best of 5, I suppose. Anyways, because there's only 6 teams in the league, they only play the semifinals and the finals, whoever makes it through. So, I believe the Frost knocked out Toronto, and then the Charge?
Yeah, Ottawa Charge. Chargers.
Charge knocked out Montreal. How do you pronounce their name? The Victoire? I don't speak French. I don't know. Anyways, it'll be Minnesota against Ottawa in the finals. That should be fun. Minnesota has already won. I kind of want Ottawa to win.
I'm still not quite over the drama of last season with the Minnesota Frost, so
right.
I think I'm all in on Ottawa here. I was not aware that they get to choose who they play. How does that even? Who made that rule? That seems a little what?
I don't know. It just adds to the drama.
That I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about that. I can't think of any other sports league that you're allowed to do that. Like if anything, like you'll have I think it's fair if you have like a bye week. Like if you finished first in the league, like you kind of I don't know if it necessarily is like beneficial, like because like every time the Sharks go on a break, there's always that vibe of like, oh God, here we go. We're going to lose a ton because we've been like out of the groove and whatever. So I don't know necessarily if that's like you want the bye week, but I think it's a nice incentive. Like the other fantasy league that I'm in, we incorporated a bye week this past season, which I was just like, what? And I'm like, fine, I guess, but I don't necessarily know if I would want a bye week. I haven't really thought about it that closely, but getting to choose your opponent, I mean, I guess like if you think about it strategically, if you have the people in place who like look at that stuff, like analysts and whatever, like I guess it could be a strategy, but then there's that aspect of it does end up becoming a little dramatic because then you're like, oh, why do you think we're like the easiest to beat and whatever? And then they've got a chip on their shoulder, right? Like if they're chosen as the one to go against you, then they have this drive to want to prove a point and beat you. So I don't know. I guess whatever floats your boat. I guess in a couple more seasons, like I won't care because it'll just be the norm. But that's interesting.
It makes it spicier.
I guess. All right. In other news, other non-hockey news, the Valkyrie made their inaugural home opener debut on this past Friday, and it was a sold-out event. I watched it. I also watched the preseason games to kind of get into the groove of it. I'm kind of bummed that some of the players that I was really rooting for didn't make the cut, but new sport, new vibes. I'm just gonna have to go with it. The team like looks a little out of sync, but of course, kind of went through this with the Bay FC last season where you have a little bit of time. Like obviously they have the veterans, they have a handful of young players in the roster. It's going to take a little bit of time for them to get, familiar with one another and that whole team bond and whatever. But it's really cool to kind of see the fact that it was sold out, the fact that it's such an exciting time for the Bay. I think they mentioned that like they had like 10,000 season ticket holders this season. Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping to make it out to that game, but me and my girl got sick, so we were like, we can't. We were so tired and we felt so icky, but we did end up catching it um on TV or whatever. And they were holding up pretty well for, I want to say, the first half, and then they fell apart during the third quarter, and they couldn't catch back up in the fourth. And I was like, "What are you guys doing? What is this?"
Okay, listen. So outside of the only players I knew before the season were Leisha Clarendon, who is actually one of our studio analysts. I was over the moon when they were announcing who was going to be part of the crew, and it's super exciting that we're going to have the first openly non-binary former WNBA player who did play for the Sparks. They're going to be breaking down the game, whatever. I watched it through League Pass, so I don't know how they if it's like an ESPN type of national broadcast that they have on League Pass, but I'm kind of bummed that I didn't get to see anything of Leisha during that first game. But I was I was annoyed that the Sparks have Kelsey Plum because my God,
off.
she was just making us eat it out on the court. So during preseason, they kind of had their boost. The Valkyrie had their boost in like the second half, where it really got you into it. Like the first half, like they kind of looked all over the place, and then it came together in the second. The preseason game against the Sparks, like they managed to get like pretty close. I mean, the final score was actually like pretty close for this home opener. And then the second game against the second preseason game against the Phoenix Mercury, like they seemed like, oh, they're really starting to get it together. And then you get to this home opener and you're like, oh, we're still a work in progress, for a little like super inconsistent. Like sometimes they look like they were really trying to like push for those 3-pointers, and you're just like, no,
Brick
man.
after brick. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's like air ball. And like and then there were just some moments where, and again, it goes back to they need some time, not expecting this brand new team to come out of the gates and like, make everybody, like get everybody out of the way. But you could tell with some of the passing, it's like, yeah, they're not really synced up there, and then they would give it away, or they just, yeah. So, but there were a lot of exciting moments there. I got really into it when Van Loo was getting like those back-to-back 3-pointers. So she's definitely gonna be like her and Thornton. And then there's another couple of players that I just can't think of their names right now. But I mean, it's a good squad. And then once they kind of like get synchronized a little more, I think generally speaking, everyone's just excited for this new team. And it'd be really cool to, keep up with the WNBA and see how this team kind of improves and whatever. But dang, that Kelsey Plum. Dang her. And why is she on LA? That's the extra part. Like, damn, she's good and I respect her, but why?
Yeah. I think she scored about half of the points that the Valkyries ended up scoring that game.
Yeah, every other basket was hers.
Yeah, dude.
Seemed like
she scored 37 points that game, and she set like a career high record of something. I don't know. And it was like, against the Valkyries, whatever. Whatever, man. But it's exciting that we have this in the Bay now. They mentioned like, this is a basketball town. Obviously, the Warriors get a lot of support out here. The Filipino community is down for basketball. I think they're pretty excited to have a women's team too. So it's been really cool to see people show up and show out for this team already. Also, their color is just so good. I love it so much.
And to add on to the Filipino comment, every now and then my mom will tell me about the Warriors, and I look at her like, Mom, you don't watch basketball. Like you only know them because everyone else around you is like huge basketball fans and whatever, and you pick it up, and I'm like, Mom, you don't watch basketball.
What are you doing?
You're telling me about the Warriors. Like, I don't even watch basketball. So anyways, before we hop on to the next subject, I do want to make a brief mention that yesterday's Bay FC game was the AANHPI night.
Oh, sick.
And I got this sick t-shirt.
Very
It's got
nice.
the B in the front. These were a hot item. I got there a little bit earlier than I like to, just so I could get the limited edition poster. So I'm gonna find a spot on my wall somewhere once I get a frame. The one downside for them to do a giveaway with a poster is I don't know where to put this during the game. Like, I saw some people putting it on the floor, and I'm like, that's gonna get dirty. And then so my neighbors, my fellow season ticket holder neighbors, weren't there at the game last night, so I put it on their chair, thankfully. But if people, it was like maybe 60-70% capacity. But if there were more people, I probably would have just held on to it the entire game. Like, I just don't want it to get scuffed up. And for the most part, it was only like this little bit on top that kind of got messed up. But I really wanted the poster, but once I got it, I was like, dang it, where am I going to put this for like 2 hours? And then I really wanted the shirt, so that's why I got there early as well. And so, funny story, I was at one of the booths, and then they put this up like way too fucking high. Like, no one's going to be able to get that unless they're like 7 feet tall. And so I went over there and I was looking for a worker, and then one of them just happened to turn around and had the shirt in their hands. And then, they asked me, I need help or whatever. And I said, yes, I'd like to see if there's a small in that shirt. And then they're like, oh, your lucky day, I have it right here. And I'm sweet. And then I went to try it on just to make sure. And then after I got done, I was like trying to put it somewhere while I could get dressed again. And then this lady comes in and also wanted to get a shirt and reached over. I guess she thought maybe it was like on the tables in front. Reached over to grab the one that I just got done trying on. And I was immediately like, because I just had this feeling that like that's the last small.
Mm-hmm.
He's up the rest of them up there are probably way too big for me, and so I was like, nope, that's mine. No, I'm getting it.
Get your hand off of that.
Yeah, get your hands off my shirt. I'm buying it. Yeah. And then they kicked Angel City's ass last night. So happy.
2-0.
Yeah, because they have not been looking too great the last couple of games. They've been looking incredibly inconsistent, but last night they were really good. Like, especially that, I think it was a second goal where it must have hit like 4 or 5 Bay legs before it made. No, that was the first goal. The second goal was the penalty kick. The first goal, they had all hands on deck approaching the Angel City goal, and it just the luck or whatever, the determination for that ball to have hit like 4 or 5 legs before it made its way over to I forget who scored it, but that was like edge of your seat, like, we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. And yeah, so it was very exciting to see that because it was the first half, it was like really back and forth. Like they could not get any room out there. And there were a couple of rushes. Like our new goalkeep has been really, really good. Like she's really, really kept bay in a lot of the games. She's been like the equivalent of like the Sharks goaltending. Like she has been had to fly across to keep it out of the net and or out of the goal. But if they can continue to do what they did last night, because I mean, I don't really know where Angel City is in terms of like, was it a good game that we went against a very good team or whatever? But they were definitely threatening last night. But Bay FC, especially Rachel Kundananji. There was some player on Angel City that she was probably spending way too much time with the ball and not doing anything with it. Rachel came running over to her and literally hip tracked her away from the ball. And I was like laughing and at the same time and went, oh no. Because I'm like, oops, wrong sport. But she literally went like the player just like flung 3 feet the other way. And then the ref called it down. I think she got a yellow for that. Rachel was like, no, whatever. And I'm like,
it's not hockey. You can't do that.
Like there's some room to fight for your, positioning when you're going against the ball, but you legit came out of nowhere and were like, get off this ball.
You're taking too damn long.
Like everyone was looking at you. Like it's a little hard for us to be like, that's fine. But she's that woman is on a mission this season. She is so fast. She was all up in the goalkeeper's face. Like, you're taking too long. Get that ball away. Get it back in. I know. Like, get that ball back in play. Exciting. See, exciting times in the Bay.
I want to make it out to a game this season. My one game a year.
Okay. And finally, we want to put a little shout out there for a good friend to the podcast, Chanel Keenan. If you're not following Chanel, she has recently created a GoFundMe because unfortunately she is in need of replacing her wheelchair accessible van. I'm just going to read out the message that she put out on her GoFundMe. She says, "Hi, my name is Chanel. I am 26 years old. I was born with a physical disability called osteogenesis imperfecta. I have been a wheelchair user since an age of 3, and since then we have relied on various versions of wheelchair accessible vehicles. Like most people, we use my car to get to doctor's appointments, family events, and work. My mom, who primarily uses the car, as this is our only vehicle, is a physical therapist for other children with disabilities in our neighboring town. Unfortunately, some of these used vans are not meant for such daily use. In March of 2025, my current wheelchair van passenger door began to give us some trouble. Over the years, our current van has to undergo multiple repairs, but none that we couldn't get fixed until May of 2025. On Friday, May 16th, on a day that was supposed to be pretty exciting, became a day of traveling to and from a graduation lunch with a door that would not close because the restaurant was too close and it happened to be a lovely day. We took the risk and traveled to the location till we could stop by the dealership to see if they could help us get the door closed. Luckily, they were able to close the door, and the mechanism it closes with was completely rusted out, and they said it could not be repaired. So now we have to begin the process of purchasing a new or used wheelchair accessible van. I have been extremely fortunate to have a great support system that has been able to cover the cost of the vehicles as I was growing up. That being said, I am currently unemployed and want to use this page to help my family lessen the burden of paying for a brand new vehicle since we have only ever been able to afford used ones. Although I am without a job, I have always had a knack for crowdfunding. Without an accessible vehicle, the safest way I can to travel in a toddler car seat, but this limits me to travel without my power wheelchair. At 26 years old, traveling in a car seat and being limited to a manual chair for my disease, it does not give me the safest level of independence. This is the fix we will be working with temporarily, but it is not sustainable or safe for the long term. Any donation, big or small, will make a difference. Thank you so much for your time. So if you've been a longtime follower of our podcast, we did have another good friend to the podcast come on, last season? A different type of disability, but still needing a wheelchair accessible van. He talked about his situation and the type of scenarios that he has to go through when they don't have the ability to have one of their own. I mean, if you think about able-bodied people, when I have to go into repairs for my car, my situation, I'm able to have some funds to utilize in these moments. And if anything, the worst part about it is it's like, oh, I have to take time off of work. I have to call, a Lyft, and then that costs more money. And then it's just like you're spending more time waiting. But when you think about it, even in those situations, it's like I don't have to think about, oh, I need to make sure that the Lyft car can accommodate for my type of disability. I'm able to just get into a car, and the only hardship that I have to deal with is the inconvenience of time. But given that my work allots me that time and I'll still get paid, and I can hop into any car and not have to worry about, making sure that it fits my particular needs. It's like at the end of the day, it's not like I'm able to move on with my life as easily as possible. And then once my car gets repaired, so on and so forth. And then recently my car got to the point where I'm like, I'm no longer comfortable with investing more in repairs and whatever. And I recently bought a new car. But again, this is a situation where I can just walk into a dealership. I can try out all these cars. They don't have to be particularly tailored to me. If anything, I have the luxury of when I went to get this car, I'm like, oh, I wanted to have this type of stuff. And it's more of a need than more of a want than a need for me. Worst case scenario, if I don't get this particular car that I want, which I didn't get everything that I wanted in this car, but at the end of the day, it's just more about darn, I don't get the sunroof in my vehicle. Yeah. But that's not doing anything for my day to day necessarily to get me from point A to B. It's I don't really have to think about stuff so much when I'm needing to get myself to go places. But situations, of course, with people with disabilities, especially with this world that we live in, it's not catered to. It's catered to people who can move about on their own and so forth. And so if you ever think about a situation where you've been unable to utilize your vehicle and you're hours away from your destination, the stress that you felt that day, just trying to do the things that you need to do, amplify that by 10, 20 times. And I mean, if you're in a situation right now where you can't monetarily offer assistance, even just sharing this link to Chanel's GoFundMe, we'll put it in our description on our wherever you listen to our podcast, or if you watch us on YouTube. If you're not in a situation where you can, donate like a little bit, sharing it can go a long way. I mean, everybody's on social media, whatever platform that you're on. If you can help us out with at least just kind of putting it out there and getting it circulated, I know it would mean the world to Chanel to just help her family out a little bit with lessening the blow. She's currently trying to raise $26,000. Right now, she's been able to get a little bit of that, but this donation page only went out a couple of days ago. It would be really awesome if we can continue to generate more eyes onto this GoFundMe and help Chanel out.
Yeah. Chanel's an absolute sweetheart. Like, help out if you can. Like we said, or like Jay said, to even just share the link or whatever. She's asking again, like Jay said, $26,000. I have been keeping up with her story a bit. Apparently, it costs at least $80,000 to get a wheelchair accessible van for them to purchase. So, she's not even asking for the whole amount that she needs. She's just asking for partial. But yeah, if you can, donate. If not, share the link. Help in other ways. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, if you think about, the cars that are just out here, on the dealership lots, like those are just the standard ones that they make like in massive loads. Like they don't have to think about the particular mechanics that go into there, like the ramps, the room, obviously. Like I don't know too much about like smaller vehicles that can handle wheelchairs, especially ones that are a little more bulkier, like power wheelchairs that Chanel has to use. But of course, these are not, they don't just go through the factories just like these standard cars that, able-bodied people can just hop onto the dealership lots and grab. Obviously, those made in bulk are going to be much cheaper than these particular ones that need to be customized to whatever needs that people with disabilities have. So, yeah. So, well, as I said, we're going to put this link in our description, and any help that you can do, whether you can donate monetarily or if you put it out on social media, huge help. Okay, other than that, we're kind of done here. So I guess the next time we chat, we'll be entering in on some conference finals situations. Yeah, any closing thoughts?
No, well, one, because earlier when I was talking about the Sharkie thing, I forgot to say the website to go on for those who are listening and couldn't actually see the piece of paper I was holding up. If you want to go ahead and vote, it's at mascothalloffame.com. That's just wanted to make that quick correction because I almost forgot. Other than that, I don't know. I think we're good here.
Okay, and with that, as always, I'm your host, Jay.
And I'm other host Ness. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.